Information meeting. We have several speakers here tonight to kind of give you information into our registration process, some of our offerings here at the high school. Before we get started with that, I want to make a couple introductions. I'm Patty McClemens. I am the high school principal. Right over here is Scott DeBoer. He is one of our assistant principals. And then walking down the aisle, we have Troy Taranis and Matt Bastian. So they are some people that you can contact in the office if you have questions at any time, or will be available afterwards to answer any questions that way. We have our three counselors here. We have Shelley Gower is over here, Anna Eggers, and Heather Fisher. And then we'll have Bert Pollock come and speak about Northeast Tech High School, and Lee Qualley about our dual credits. And then we have two other special guests. A couple of our AP instructors will be sharing some information about AP coursework. Before we get started, I just want to visit with you a little bit about just the registration process, and as a parent and as a student, some things that you should be aware of. This is really a good time for you to explore classes, to find out what your interests are, maybe dabble into some areas that you're not sure about that you think might be of an interest. So really take a look at that registration book, which they will show you where that is online for you, and see what would interest you and kind of help prepare you for whatever you choose to do after high school. Taking the time now for those careful considerations will help you in terms of making sure that you're in the right classes, the classes that you want to take next year and the next year and the next year, depending on what year you are at. Students, something that's very, very important, make sure that you are checking your email, because that is the one information way that you will get a majority of what you need to register. We will have Northeast Tech High School registration, which Bert will talk about, but those will be emailed to you in your advisory, and so you'll have to go into your email to make sure that you get in there to register for those classes. They fill up quickly, so it's important that you get in there right away, and then don't wait till the next day, that sort of thing, so you can get the classes that you want. We're going to start tonight with a little talk about our AP classes. We have Danielle Harms and Susan Fairchild, so please welcome them.
Hi, I'm Danielle Harms. I teach AP English. Susan Fairchild next to me teaches AP Calc. And the high school offers 5 different AP classes. There are 2 English classes, 1 Lang and 1 Lit. Math is AP Calc, and we have AP US History for social studies, and then AP Bio is the science offering. And so we just wanted to share with you just a little bit of the benefits of taking AP classes. It's really not necessarily about the content, but rather the skills that you would learn by taking those classes. And so one of the benefits is it really helps you grow as a student. It helps you hone some of those content-specific skills in English, math, but even more broadly, it's a lot more about critical thinking, being able to problem solve, evaluate evidence, approach things from different angles, maybe look at different perspectives and things like that. I think the other key benefit of taking an AP class is it helps establish a work ethic. It gives you practice with some time management and study skills. And so if you do have an after-school job or you are in activities, you get an opportunity to sort of learn how to juggle both of those or all of those extra involvements while being a student at the same time. And I think Susan would agree with me, but the biggest benefit for taking an AP class would be that it gives you a really great support system while you're getting a glimpse into a college level class. And so in college, you're just kind of thrown out there on your own, but the benefit of taking it in the high school is you have a teacher, you have counselors, parents, other students, all sort of as your support system, rooting for you, sort of cheering you on and convincing you or encouraging you that you can do these hard things. And you don't really get that outside of that AP program are outside of this building. And so you get that benefit without having to like figure out how to do laundry on your own or dealing with a roommate. And so, I mean, that I think is probably the key. Like, you have a support system, you have someone helping you do those higher level thinking skills and do those harder classes.
I think about the only thing I would add is the AP classes, we do have a little extra time compared to a normal college class. Most normal college classes, you know, you've got 15 weeks, and you got to get it all done in 15 weeks. None of our AP classes are 15 weeks. At minimum, they're 18 weeks. So they get a little extra time to kind of figure things out. We give them a little extra time. And the other thing, at least in math, you know, most math classes, most science classes kind of build up. In AP Calc, you jump right into calculus. So that means, and I'm guessing English is kind of the same, we don't review this topic and this topic and this topic. We jump in and we expect you to remember a bunch of things from Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2. It kind of all gets pulled together in an AP class. So I would say that's another thing. Otherwise, I would say it gives you a taste of college. I was just telling my AP Calc students that today. You're getting a taste of college. It's not quite, because you have all those extra supports, which I know my students right now, I think, are happy they're doing it now with the extra support, so they can kind of figure out how this is going to work. You know, the time management is huge. You know, they can go home and cry and they have a parent at home that can help them with that, or a counselor, or a teacher. I don't think I would have ever gone to my college professors and cried, but they may come to me and cry. And that's okay, we can help them through that. So I do think that is really the key, is the extra help and support.
Yes, one other thing I would add, thinking back about all of the kids who I have had in AP, who have like revisited me or sent me an email, all of them have talked about how much their AP classes have prepared them for their college classes and that next stage. Like, they all feel so much more prepared, almost to the point where some of them say, I took your class and all of my other classes were either that same level of difficulty or slightly easier. So they felt very prepared going into college. Yep. Right, Lee Qualley is up next. He's going to talk to you about some dual credit offerings.
Good evening. I'm Lee Qualley. I'm the dual credit coordinator at Lake Area Tech. So what dual credit is where high school students can take college level courses while they're still in high school. So juniors and seniors can take college level courses while they're in high school. And the best part is that it's $48.33 a credit instead of $200 a credit if they're coming to Lake Area after they graduate, or probably over $300 if they're going to go to SDSU or USD or the Board of Regents universities. So the dual credit is a terrific opportunity, just like Ms. Harms was saying, and we offer English 101 through the AP. So that's something that the students can get Lake Area Tech as well, and those courses will transfer on to a four-year university. So we offer English 101, we offer Psych 101, we offer Speech 101, Econ, Government. A lot of courses that students will need to take in order to probably their freshman year of school. So when they're talking about the support system, that is one of the things that we really pride ourselves on, is that support system. So if a student is struggling, the instructor will contact me, I'll contact the instructors or the counselors, and you know, we work out a plan in order to make the student successful. So that is different than probably a normal college setting, just because we want the students to be successful and we want it to be a good experience. Lake Area is small enough, even though it's growing, that we do still look at the student as a student, not just a number. So I think that's one of the best things about the possibility of Watertown High School students taking dual credit while they're still a junior or senior in high school. Some of you may be saying, well, my son or daughter is going to a four-year university. Like I said, a lot of these courses will work at the college level. You're going to have to take English 101, you're probably going to have to take speech, you're going to have to take psychology. Our teachers are awesome, and I think the students who are taking the classes now will say that. So I think that's the biggest advantage of that. Our instructors aren't demanding, but like I said, they really do care. The other thing that we offer is for those students who are not going to a four-year university and they plan on going to Southeast Tech or Lake Area Tech or Mitchell Tech, we offer courses where they can get those courses completed. So maybe they want to take a med-term class, or maybe they want to take a course that is not transferable, but it's going to work for the auto program, or it's going to work for the diesel program, or it's going to work to become a nurse at Lake Area or the other technical schools. We allow students to take those courses as general ed, but they're not the same. They're probably a little more, I don't want to say easier because they're not easier, but they're a little more relevant. So for example, we have a leadership in the global workplace. And what that class teaches, I used to be a superintendent, and when I was going to get my superintendent degree, a lot of those things that were taught to be a good and efficient leader are taught in that leadership in the global workplace class. So a lot of those things are really good classes. Mrs. Fisher used to teach a psychology class for us, which was not considered a transferable to SCSU, but it was a really, really good class. And it just talked about how to relate to other humans, whether you're a 50-year-old, whether you're a 20-year-old student who becomes a boss, how do you relate to that 50-year-old employee? Or if you're 20 years old and you have a 50-year-old boss, how do you relate to that person? So there's a lot of really good courses. But so if you don't have the 3.5 GPA, or you have a 3.25 GPA if you're a senior, you can still take courses. So I don't want to discourage you from taking courses. We know most of the students that come to Lake Area are really hardworking, and they're probably more hands-on. So it doesn't mean that, you know, Bert is going to talk here in a second about the salaries and the job opportunities and those sorts of things. So I just want you to be aware that whether they want to go to a four-year college or whether they want to come to a technical college, we offer both things, and they can just either walk across the street or they can take courses right here at the Watertown High School. Also, Bert is going to talk about some things that we offer through Northeast Tech. So we have some agreements with Northeast Tech. You can get some of the ag classes if you're going into the ag program. You can get some precision machining classes. You can get some welding classes. We've had students who have graduated from precision machining, from welding, before they actually graduated from Watertown with their high school degree, just because we graduated like a week earlier. But, so there are those possibilities. That doesn't happen very often, but there are, we probably had about 10 students who have done that. So it is a really good opportunity for students. So if you have any questions, you can either look at our Lake Area Tech website, talk to the counselors, but if you have any questions, I'll stay up here after the session, so if you want to come up and visit, we can sure do that as well. Thank you. And now it's going to be Bert.
All right, I successfully used the Mac. It's been a good night. All right, good evening. Thanks for coming. My name is Bert Follick. I am the principal at Northeast Technical High School. And I greatly appreciate the work and the partnership with Watertown High School. Thank you, Mrs. McClemens, for having me come and speak tonight. We have a great relationship with Lake Area Tech as well. There's a lot of people up here that put in a lot of hours to make this all happen. Some of them are happy when they see me walking through the hallway, some aren't. It just depends on the day. But anyway, so Northeast Tech, it's your technical high school. We have students from 8 schools that come every day, and we have about 600 students that come in throughout the course of the year. And that's good for the introduction. Now let me just jump into a few other things. I have the great opportunity to meet with the approximately 300 Watertown 8th graders, and then another 300 some of the 8th graders from out of town. And when I first come in and talk to them, they love this question. I ask them to think about their future. And then they look at me kind of like with us, what do you mean, dude? So then we talk about this, that why are you in this room? What are you doing? Well, this is the reason. We're here for a career. This is one of the main goals of why we take all these courses. We want this career. And we talk about that so-called 40-hour work week or 60 or 70-hour work week. Doesn't it make sense that life's a little better if you enjoy your work? So let's figure out a way to get to that place to where you enjoy your career. But it takes a little effort on your part. So how do we get there? Well, we start with, this is your plan, this is your decision. It's not based on what your parents did, it's not based on what your sisters did, or Uncle Fred. This is about you, your personality. It's about your talents, gifts. It's about your passion, interests. So how are we going to get to that great career? Well, there's different paths to get there. So high school is now, we make this plan, and now we need to follow this plan. So during this plan then, okay, so what are we going to do? Well, we want to get to that career, and we know that some form of college is going to most likely be in our future. So then I give them a few pointers about college. So one of the first things then, and most of you probably know, oh, it's cut off. Didn't expect that, but you can get the general idea there. When I was in high school, or when I was in college 30 years ago, yeah, the gray hairs are up here. I'm glad you can't see them from there. It was a little different. So college was much more affordable. All of you need to know, every one of our students need to know, college is extremely expensive. You need a plan before you're going. You need a plan. So if you're looking at some of these numbers, and it's $13,000, $22,000, $39,000, almost $40,000 and $51,000 there, okay, and you're thinking to yourself, that's crazy. You're right. And so since 1978, tuition has gone up. Now this goes to 2015, has gone up 1,500%. It's been the inflation rate of tuition fees, and we're sitting at about 400% of everything else. All right? College is expensive. Before you go to college, you need a plan. We have a lot of courses we can offer students, okay, so they know what they want to do, or a better idea of what they want to do before they go to college. So that's one of the first things. So, unfortunately, the last generation, and maybe 2 generations now, they're strapped in debt because of that. This is not a good way to start off that career. All right, so the gist of this slide is $40,000 in debt after 4 years of college. We got $400 payment for the next 20 years of my life. Now, is that degree even going to give me a career? Let's go on to the next one. The gist of this slide, so my 50-minute presentation here, I'm putting into 10 minutes, so that's why I'm going fast. So, millennial college graduates, they're young, they're educated, but they're jobless. Here is the quote from Mr. Fowler tonight. Okay, so in my research, and it's hard to find some of this data, half of all 4-year degrees do not translate to a career. I tell the students this, half of 4-year degrees do not get you a job. That's what you have to be aware of as a parent and as a student. You need to be seeking those college-ready degrees. And there's many of them at 2-year colleges and 4-year universities. But there's also a lot that don't. So the worst case scenario is, let's go spend $50,000 a year for school and then get a degree that doesn't turn into a job. And you all know someone who's been in that place. Don't go there for your children. So ask the right questions, and whenever you're talking to counselors here and you're talking to counselors at college, where are the jobs? So the same thing with my daughter. Okay, if we're going to get this business degree, where are the jobs? That focused us in on her major of accounting. Okay, one example. Okay, keep moving. You see my arrows there. Food for thought. Food for thought. Associate's degree, bachelor's degrees. Okay, so, where am I going with this? Right across the street, we have Lake Area Tech. 6 months after graduation, they have 7 programs where students are making about $56,000 a year. Okay. Wow, that's not bad. When they're 21 years old, 20 years old, not bad. Now, bring it back around. I have been labeled here from some as the anti-4-year guy. No, not true. I am the guy, what's best for your child guy? Okay, is it a 1-year certificate, is it a 2-year degree, is it a 4-year degree, or are they doing medical or lawyer, is it a 10-year degree? Don't care. What is best for your kid? But this is what I am going to tell you. Don't let someone tell you you have to go get a 4-year degree to be successful in life. That's not true. It hasn't been true forever. All right? There's many great careers with a 2-year degree as well as a 4-year degree. So find the degree in the college program that works best for your child. So now we bring it back to high school, and while we're here, and now we'll get back into some of the courses. You have a sheet in front of you that has about 35 career tech courses listed on it. Okay, there's over 30 of them. And freshmen through seniors can take these courses. I don't have time to go through all of them, but here's the good news. Most of the titles tell you what we're talking about. All right, it's not that hard. Maybe if we get into some engineering and biomed, okay, some of those, you might need a little more information. Nobody really understands machining unless you go down and see our machining shop that we partner with Lake Erie Tech with. But there's a lot of great options there. So, on the website and on Watertown's website, you can find more information. Next, then dual credit. We had AP talking about dual credit. We had Lee talking about dual credit. We partner with Lake Erie Tech with a bunch of dual credit. But basically, there's not enough time to get into all the details right now. Just know that there's dual credit options for almost every student out there. Just know that dozens of Watertown High School graduates graduate every year with a half year of college done. There are some that graduate with a whole year of college done. So be paying attention to these things. Ask the questions afterwards about this dual credit stuff. So, because it can be very, very valuable. It's so much less expensive if you can get dual credit. And furthermore, then again, you're learning more about a program before you're spending the big bucks at the actual college. Okay, so, I'm going to go back. Northeast Tech offers its own version of dual credit that transfers to the technical colleges as well as universities across the nation. So know that as well. There you go. That's on the back of your page there. Okay, work-based learning. So we get your students into the workforce, to experience real life stuff. So we have tours. That's just the quick visit for that day. We have 3 to 10 day job shadowing where they observe more. We have 5-week field experiences where they actually do a few more things. And then now we really have built up our internship program. So this year we'll have over 30 students that have been in the summer, 1 semester, all year long, at the place of work, on the job site, learning skills. So this again can give them good background to, is this what I want to do? So I know we had a welder this summer that welded a lot. Okay, overtime, got paid to do all of this. Came back this year, I'm not going to weld. That's a victory. He's not going to weld. He's going to go do something else, but he found it out as a junior in high school. Okay, so welding, machining, construction, healthcare, we have people all over. We're going to have a Watertown High School senior starting in 2 days. His whole schedule is just his internship in carpentry and HVAC. So, how do you get into this internship? First off, we want you to take a minimum of a semester from us. We prefer a year, because then you can get more skills learned. And then you go back and talk to that teacher, and then we place you into this internship. You have to go to that, be interviewed, and be accepted. Okay? So it's a process. So right now, as I said, the second semester we'll have about 20 students that are at a job site doing this, getting paid, except if it's healthcare or education, because they don't pay in those rounds. Okay? And it's a pretty good deal. All right, I think I covered that. So now, finally, we got 3 Wednesdays coming up. So 25th, 1st, and 8th. This year's juniors, sophomores, freshmen, that's what I'm talking about. In their advisory, which starts at approximately what time? 1:30. 5 minutes into advisory, they're going to get an email from Student Services, and it's okay, sign up for your Northeast Tech class. So that's when it happens. If they're not on campus for a reason, have your computer out. Some of our students, as I very well know, they might have to know what their email and their password is so they can get to it. But if they want to get into some of our courses, they need to be ready and they need to sign up, because some of our courses, there'll be 50 people signed up in 5 minutes. So that's the schedule. So make sure that everyone is aware. There'll be many announcements of this coming forward, but still some miss it, so share that message. So I think that I have wrapped up what I wanted to say, and there's my email. If you Google Northeast Tech, you can find it. My office is kitty corners down the road by the outdoor skating rink there. Come and talk to me about any of this. I help parents all the time with this whole college thing. I have a junior right now in college. Just had a parent stop by the other day. We was talking about dual credit from a biomed class that was taken a couple years ago, and so forth. So, thank you for your time.
Hello, I am Anna Eggers and this is Heather Fisher, and we will be going over some of the course registration handbook stuff. So first off, we want to show you how to actually get to the course registration handbook, because some people may not know how to do that.
If you go to the Watertown School District website, and you click on the high school homepage, you'll click on Student Services, and on the left-hand side, there will be a student registration book. That's the link that you're going to go to read overviews of classes, prerequisite requirements, grade level requirements. Everything is going to be in that updated handbook, and we update it every year. So it's going to have the most current information when your child goes to register.
So first, I just want to give you a general overview of Watertown's graduation requirements. And there's also a comparison to the state of South Dakota's graduation requirements. So as you can see, there are 4 required credits of English, a half credit of speech, 3 credits of math, 3 science, 3 social studies, 1 fine arts, and then there's a health credit, which if you're a student who's attended middle school here in Watertown, that health credit is completed in middle school. Half credit of PE, half credit of economics or personal finance, a credit of world language or a CTE course. CTE is the career and technical ed. And then 7.5 credits of electives, which gets you a total of 24 credits.
The only thing I would add is the last sentence on this page is a super important sentence, and we stress this when we go into the classrooms and register students. We will do everything in our power to make sure that we get you from point A to point B. However, some of that responsibility also has to fall on the student. You as parents, sometimes kids need to be reminded. They need to make sure they have a checks and balance system. We need your help in that process too, because we have 1,200 kids that we're trying to keep track of and make sure that everybody gets where they need to be. So it would be awesome if you could help us out and kind of be part of that process too.
So this next page we're going to talk about is a good comparison of high school and then post-secondary requirements. It looks a little overwhelming at first, but we'll try to break it down here. So if we look at the Regent Scholar Diploma, which is the second column over there, this has the exact same requirements as graduation requirements, with the addition of another credit of math, another credit of science, and another credit of CTE or world language, and then at least a 3.0 GPA. And then you also cannot get any grades below a C in any of those required courses. And just to give you a little background of what the Regent Scholar Diploma is it's not a scholarship, but it gets students automatic acceptance into the public South Dakota universities. And then the South Dakota Opportunity Scholarship has all the same requirements as the Regent Scholar Diploma, with the addition of a 24 or higher on the ACT. However, if students get a 28 or higher on the ACT, they don't have to meet any of those course requirements. They just automatically get the South Dakota Opportunity Scholarship. And then for the President's Award, which is right there, it is, again, all the same requirements, but here there's an addition of another credit of social studies. And then this is a really important one. It requires 4 credits of CTE or 4 credits of world language, and all 4 credits have to be in the same language. And then it also requires a 26 or higher on the ACT and at least a 3.5 GPA. And something I also think I forgot to mention here for the Regent Scholar Diploma and the Opportunity Scholarship is you could take 1 credit of world language and 1 credit of CTE and still meet that requirement. But then for the President's Award, you have to either take 4 credits of CTE or 4 credits of that world language. They can't be in a combination.
One thing I'm going to add, because I know this has been a requirement in the past, tell all your friends, tell everyone you know, you do not have to take a foreign language to graduate from Watertown High School. That is a myth. It used to be, but you do not have to do that. So if your student is not, doesn't want to, they don't have to, okay? I'm going to jump to page 8 in the handout that you all have. And so this is a breakdown of each of the content areas. And you'll notice that first box talks about the English requirements. Speech or debate is an option that everyone is going to have to choose. We've been told by the teachers that teach both of them, it's the same amount of work. So it's all personal preference. There's not one class that's way easier than the other. It's kind of like being able to be in an extracurricular activity where you may participate in like debate tournaments, just like you would a chorus concert or whatever. Then you'll notice that each of the grade level English has an accelerated or a non-accelerated track. The best way to explain the difference is if you are interested or your student is interested in taking an accelerated class, you can expect more from essays and or writing. It's great prep for post-secondary. Do you have to take it in order to go to college? Absolutely not. It's probably also more independent work based than the non-accelerated classes, which is really only, those are kind of the main differences. We get that question a lot. And then the middle section talks about science. So you've got your biology and your physical science, and then you just choose one of those other choices for electives. The same thing goes for math, social sciences, fine arts, PE. You've got, the breakdown of the required classes that you have to take, and then the classes that you can choose from as well. Page 10 talks about computer science classes. Those are elective classes that your student can choose to take. And then we've got our world language and business section. And then at the very bottom, that big chart has all of their CTE or their Northeast Tech classes that they can choose to take. The last page that I'm going to point out in your packet is this back page. This is super helpful for students. I have a lot of students that come into my office and we actually fill this out together to give them a better idea of which classes, how the classes might be able to be mapped out, how many credits things are worth, because sometimes that gets confusing for students. So I would encourage you, if you want to sit down with your student and fill this out, they can actually bring this to their registration session, and it makes things go a lot easier because then they just enter everything that's on this piece of paper. They can plan it out for all 4 years or all 3 years or however many years they have left. And then also too, if you have questions, specific questions, you can feel free to ask now, raise your hand, otherwise you can hang around after. I know we'll probably be here just answering questions that people might have. Okay.
Something that I wanted to mention that I forgot to touch on right away was that, especially for the Regent Scholar and Opportunity Scholarship, to tie it back into the importance, like if you're a freshman or a sophomore, it's important to plan out what you want to take now, especially with like those science classes, social studies classes, because I know I run into several students who senior year realize they need another science class, they need all these other things, and then they realize it doesn't fit in their schedule. So it's good to just plan it out now and know that there could be benefits later with those scholarships and things. And another incentive for the Opportunity Scholarship is if you attend a 4-year school, you can get $1,300 year 1, year 2, and year 3, and $2,600 year 4, as long as you take a full credit load and maintain a good GPA. And then at a 2-year school, you get $1,300 year 1 and $1,300 year 2. So there is benefit to these things.
I think that's everything that we were going to cover specifically. Does anyone have any questions? Or Mrs. McClemens, do you want to add anything? Is there anything you want to touch on or that I forgot?
We can stick around for questions if you have just specific student questions. So I'd say you can come up here and we can answer those questions for you.
Or if you want to raise your hand, there could be 5 other people that all have the same question. Yeah.
So my freshman daughter is in CAA.
Yeah.
I really don't have a clue what that is.
That's okay.
Extra programming. So I'm curious if you could explain a little bit about it, and then also how does that affect eligibility for like dual credits?
Yep. So Customized Aero Academy is what you will often hear referred to as CAA. It's kind of like a school within the high school. So we have 4 teachers in CAA that teach English, math, science, and social studies. It's more self-paced, like a teacher might not stand up and lecture every single day, but they might have a seminar and then they have like a project to do. It's a little bit more independent than maybe traditional classroom. It doesn't have any impact. I know it was part of your question was how does it impact dual credit? It doesn't. We have a lot of our CAA kids that take CAA as their high school option because they know they want to advance quickly and move through, their academic work maybe at a faster pace so that they can set themselves up for those dual credit options. Does that answer your question?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? Nobody? Okay. Well, I would really encourage you to sit down with your student and have them really put some thought into what their registration is going to look like. Trust me, it's easier to do work on the front end than to try and create something out of nothing on the back end because it's your students that build the schedule, so class offerings and things like that. If people don't register for them and they don't go as a class, and then 20 kids come in 6 weeks from now and say, oh, we all want to take that class, well, nobody registered for it, so now we can't offer it, if that makes sense. Okay?
So just a little update, we had the dates wrong up here as far as registering for Northeast Technical High School classes. Juniors will be this Wednesday. So if you're a junior, you'll want to watch your email this Wednesday. Sophomores are on the 25th, and freshmen are on the 1st, February 1st. And we've been running announcements daily, so if they listen to their announcements, they should know what day they're going.
Like when are we going into the classroom? So the counselors will be going into the classrooms. Juniors, I think, starts next week, right? And then sophomores the week after that. And then we'll go into the 8th grade, talk to the 8th graders, and we'll be doing 8th grade registration for their freshman year, like the 3rd week in February.
So when you say going into the classroom, you mean the registration, the class schedule needs to be figured out by that week?
They should have a rough idea, but they're actually going to go into their academic planner and lock them in so that we know we can get numbers and stuff of how many kids register for each class. They'll only be able to go into their academic planner in the sessions that they have with their counselor. Yep. Good question.
Can you say the dates again? Next week will be juniors.
Yep. Shelley, do you have the calendar or the dates specifically for kids? We split them up between blocks. Yeah, so they start on, I think we're gonna do CAA one day, but their names are all up on like the windows of the lunchroom. So they can just find their name and figure out what day they register and where they're supposed to go. And actually, you could go out there and look at it for your student. Yep.
Right back there, there was a question.
Sorry, I couldn't quite hear you. Oh, you mean like map out all 4 years at once? Yeah. You don't have to. It might just give you a better visual of kind of setting up, like, okay, this is what my junior year is gonna look like. Well, I only have 3 more classes I have to take, or 4 more classes I have to take, so what else am I gonna fill my schedule with, if that makes sense. Then you know kind of how maybe dual credit classes, or Northeast Tech classes, or elective classes that you might want to take.
Are there any more skinnies ever going to be offered at all, other than what has been in the past, like your Spanish one?
So currently what we're looking at are some classes that are willing to go to skinnies, so we're hoping to offer more skinnies next year. I just can't tell you at this moment what they are, but we're looking at that right now.
That would come out before they register.
Well, some might be based on what we get from registration too, but yeah, we have some lists of some that are already skinnies. Okay, if you have any other questions and you want to visit with us up front, please come on up front, we'll answer those for you. Otherwise, you can always call the student services or the office if you have any questions. Thank you for coming tonight.